Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the LFC transfer room. As we return from the international breaks to do many of our Liverpool Reds returning to training, that is tonight's main topic. Of course, we've got Manchester City on the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Our favourite time after an international break and our favourite team to play against, I'm sure. First of all, before we do get into the football itself, which is going to be our topic tonight, isn't it, Kings? Football is the topic tonight. Before we do talk about football, Kings, first of all, first time on the stream myself. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure to be on. I've been looking forward to this. I did an after-match roundup last week, but yeah, it's good to be on with you guys and getting into chatting about Liverpool FC.
Well, if you hear about Thursday nights is a very good vibe normally. So yeah, you'll get a bit of a vibe tonight and see how you feel for next week. William, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. I've managed to kick a cough and a cold now in the last couple of days, so that's a lot better than it is. I'm just excited for the footy now.
You kicked a cough and a cold better than
I meant to say a cold and I said a cough.
Kicks the ball, mate. Better than Aragon kicks the ball. Tom, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Very happy to see the end of the international break. Looking forward to seeing the Reds back in action now. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an England fan at the best times, but watching Gareth Southgate's England something else, I think it takes the. I mean, honestly, I'd rather watch when people say I'd rather watch paint dry, I honestly would rather watch paint dry, and that says something. Good evening, Musa. How are you doing, my friend? Kevin? Hi, Liverpool fan. Yeah, we are Liverpool fans. Funnily enough, I'm glad you guessed that one right. We are Liverpool fans, my friend. We are Liverpool fans. So let's get into the talk then, and the main subject of today, the main news today coming out is the people that are back in training. South American players are back over. Nunez, McAllister, Alisson Becker. They're all back over. Curtis Jones, Gravenberch and Kanata also train according to Paul Joyce. How welcoming is that, Willem, that we've got these players back?
I mean, it's really good. It gives us options as well to really kind of make adjustments throughout the game. I mean, if we wouldn't have had Gomez coming back, then we would have been stuck with Tsimikas as our lone left back. Whereas now, even we had the option of even if Trent at one point is struggling with Doku, we can at least put Gomez in there as well. I don't know. I think Matip will start anyway, seeing as Kanate probably is just coming back from his injury. And for the rest as well in midfield, I mean, it's good to have the options back. I mean, against Brentford, we could see we were running really low in our midfield options after just a couple of injuries. So yeah, just glad to have them back. It gives us good options, makes us more flexible in the game. So
there's a tiny bit of playback on someone's computer. I don't know whose it is, but there's a tiny bit of playback. I keep hearing echoing, but it's a perfect game in it, Tom, to have these players coming back. I mean, you said there we were struggling for depth against Brentford, but it was lucky against a team like Brentford. It's lucky that we've had the fixtures we've had when we have missed these players, but perfect timing for this game.
Yeah, definitely. When you're playing a team like this in the game like this, you need as many of your players available as you can now. Yeah. Obviously, we do have some good squad depth, but you do see like when we do have injuries that it can still have a big impact when you drop into your backup players. So yeah, definitely great time, and obviously gives us a better chance going into this massive game at the weekend.
Kings, how important is this depth coming back? Because in a game like this, we're looking to the bench, aren't we, at times, especially towards the last half an hour. A bench can change games like this. How important it is to get the likes of Gravenberch Jones back into that team?
I think it's vital, to be honest, because as you said, the depth of the squad needs to be bigger. When people are away injured, or for any other reason they're not available, then of course he's putting youngsters maybe on the bench to fill it up, and they haven't got the experience sometimes. Now, as we all know from years gone by with people like Fowler and Owen, sometimes a youngster can come through and they take their chance and it's great. But on average, they need to be just every now and then brought in so they get used to the atmosphere. And having the regular players on the bench or ready to start is massive, especially against someone like Man City, because most of the time they're the team to beat, and you need to be on form with the best players ready at hand to try and get the results against them.
This feels like a strange game because We usually play on a Sunday against Man City. It's usually our 4 kickoff. It's quite early in the season, so it's not going to have too much of an impact on the season itself. But this could either be a confidence booster, Tom, or a confidence drowner. That's what I think it could be.
Yeah, it's going to be a good reality check, isn't it? Because obviously last year when we played them away, we got battered, didn't we? Went 1-0 up, and then the second half was a real reality check to how far we dropped off. So obviously this year we're looking a lot better again, but when you play against the likes of Man City, that's the real sort of litmus test, isn't it, to where you're at as a team. So yeah, let's hope that they can sort of prove our sort of hope for the team right, that we can be title contenders again this season, and hopefully, even if we do come out the wrong side of the game, we show that we can actually compete with Man City like we have done in previous years.
We're going to go into a little bit of a Man City preview towards the end of the stream. Get your comments on, get your questions in. If you've got anything to say about the Man City game, get your predictions in as well, because it's only a couple of days away now, and it's less than 48 hours because we're our 12 kickoff. So please do get your predictions in, get your man of match predictions in, possibly your team predictions in. Who do you want to start up front? Who do you want to start in midfield? Is it going to be Kanate or Matip at the centre back position because of the pace of likes of Doku and Haaland? Helios says here, I really do hope Klopp isn't out to control the game against Man City. We don't have the players to do that. I think the lack of it, we've talked about it so many times, the lack of a 6 is huge in a game like this because it allows us not to take control as we want to, because I think the lack of Kevin De Bruyne is huge because we haven't got a 6. There's no one picking up those pockets, but I'm hoping he doesn't play Bernardo Silva because I think he could ruin us because of that lack of 6. However, do I want to go out there and play on the counter-attack? I don't want to do that either. I want to go for it, if I'm honest. I really want to go for it. I think we can beat these if we go for it and we head-to-head. That's the best we've ever been when we're playing City. It's toe-to-toe. And they score, we score. So I think it could be a high-scoring game, but I still think we can get the edge of it if we go out there and give it to them. I don't think we can sit back. I don't think we're defensively strong enough to sit back against this team because we could be picked apart quite easily. Before we do go into the City game though, towards the end, we're going to go over some transfer news. The biggest transfer news coming out today is from Mundo Deportivo and Diario Sport. Obviously, Willem is from Spain. He lives in Spain, so he knows these outlets quite well. Barcelona are looking at former player Thiago Alcantara to replace Gavi because Gavi is injured at the moment. They could be making a January move, Willem. Are you wary of that happening? And do you think they will make a January move, or do you reckon they'll wait till the contract runs out in summer?
I think it depends on the urgency that they have with it. I think they'll be in for him in the summer anyway if we don't extend his contract. I think it's more down to can they negotiate a reasonable fee with Liverpool in January to take him off 6 months earlier than maybe expected. Whereas Liverpool will eventually end up doing that and accepting it, I'm not entirely sure that will be the case. And it's only just been a rumor now coming out again in the last 1 or 2 days, and for the rest, it's been relatively quiet on it. And this is also kind of the period as well where obviously just after a major injury, what can you do as a journalist? You can rekindle some of those old links that you've put out in the past. And because during the summer as well, we had it where the Saudi Arabia was apparently after Thiago, Barcelona were apparently after Thiago. So I'm not too sure on it. Just more looking at it from Barca's financial situation, I wouldn't seem it realistic because even now looking at João Felix and João Cancelo, they had to get them out on loans because they couldn't even pay a fee outright. So I think it would be if they do end up going for him, I think it would be in the summer, or they would somehow have to have gotten an indication that he's available for quite cheap in January that they would be able to afford it.
Evening, Jen. I hope you're feeling better after last night. I think someone said I hope you're feeling better, but after watching Kev TV coming back last night, I'm guessing you had a very good night, and I hope you got lots of sleep because of that night, and make sure you're drinking lots of water to keep you hydrated as well. Kings, how important do you consider Thiago as an option right now in terms of the squad, because he's out so many times now? Can you really take him as an option as a midfielder right now?
For me, no, because things have changed so dramatically since the summer when we thought, right, this is pretty much our midfield. and then it got turned on his head, obviously with players leaving to go to Saudi Arabia. And we've changed our midfield quite drastically since he last played for the team. And I'm not saying he's world class. At the end of the day, I can see why he's linked with Barcelona again. I mean, when he was there, he won everything with them. I'm sure he'd slot back in there. It'd feel like home to him. So he's a world class player and his talent isn't in doubt. But his injury record, especially at Liverpool, is horrific for him. I mean, I'm sure they said originally he was going to be back like May, June, ready for the new season. We're now November going into December. He's only done a handful of training sessions. So even if he came back tomorrow for full-time training, he's not going to be ready for a good month. And then he's into January. And before you know it, it's like most of the season's gone for him. It's going to pass him by, unfortunately, unless he can come back quite quickly and hit the ground running and start dictating the play and passing the ball like he can do. But at this point, I'm not even sure there's a space for him at the moment.
So if you're in control of transfers like Kings, if there was a bid coming in from Barcelona in January, would you accept?
I'd still say no, just for the simple reason, if you can get him fit and he's around with the squad, one, he's got so much experience for people like Gravenberch and that to learn from, even McAllister and Szoboszlai. At the end of the day, they can learn from somebody like him because he's been there and done it with Bayern Munich, with Barcelona, even with Liverpool. He's played in this team previous before they came along, so he can offer so much experience. So if they can get him to a point where he's fit to at least be coming off the bench for a majority of the second half of the season, I still think he could be valuable. Is he a nailed-on starter? Not anytime soon, I don't think.
It's hard to give a nailed-on starter for someone that's so injury-prone, isn't it? Because you need to reliability in midfield. You need a consistent midfield if you can. But we've seen it over the past where we played Keita for a good length of time. He got some good minutes and he played unbelievable at times. But then he got injured again. So it just absolutely threw everything up in the air. And it's difficult for Klopp to rely on someone like that. And Tom, it'd be quite difficult to reject a bid, wouldn't it? I know King says he wouldn't, but if it was a decent amount, 20 million, but then are we guaranteed that money's going to go back into getting a CDM, for example? If it was, say, 25 million for, you ain't going to get 25 million for him, you're going to get that 10 million for him, something like that, because his contract runs out anyway. Would you get that 10 million and run to Brazil for Andre?
It's tough, isn't it? I think, like you said, if you get 20, 25, it's a no-brainer. You take it with him out of contract in the summer, but if you're talking realistic, 10 mil, I don't think I would, just because of King's point. If you're in the running, business end of the season, you go for a Prem or Europa League or whatever it is, you could really do with someone like him if you can get him. It's a big if, but if you can get him fit, because he is such a good player and he got so much experience in the dressing room as well, he'd be good for that. Yeah. I remember when we nearly won the quadruple in the back end of that season, he was absolutely exceptional, wasn't he? Remember that performance against City at Wembley, the one against United, the 4-0. He was absolutely unbelievable for us, instrumental in what we were doing. So yeah, I think for 10 mil or less, I wouldn't take it, to be fair, just because of the level of player that he is. But I do agree that his injury record is kind of getting a bit of a joke now, isn't it? Age is not his side anymore, so I think definitely in the summer it'll be time to part ways. But he's an absolutely exceptional footballer on his day.
I think it's fair to say I think he's still the best midfielder we've got in terms of quality and absolute ability. Obviously, Szoboszlai is pushing on doors right now, but I still think Thiago's still the best out-and-out midfielder we've got in terms of ability. So exhausted from Thiago, move him on, take the 10 mil and open the spot up for someone's coming. This is the problem that I totally read. I do agree with that. We could easily move him on, but are we guaranteed to bring someone in? That's my issue. It's always been my issue. The reason why we didn't get rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain, the reason why we didn't get rid of Naby Keita is because they want a certain guarantee to get someone in. Klopp had to keep people playing Klopp kept this guy. He's got to keep these players because he's got enough in players. If no one is brought in, and if we sold, say, Ox or Keita for 20 million apiece, we're not going to get those players that we need for 20 million, if that makes sense. We're not. They cost 40, 50 million, these players that we need, some of them. So Are we guaranteed that FSG accept that and say, look, that money's going towards this player and this player? Because they ain't going to put towards out of their own money. That money that we sell on has got to be then used to bring in someone. If we sell Thiago for 10 million in January, are we guaranteed to bring someone in for 10 million? You know what I'm saying? Unless...
To be honest with you, Damon, sorry for butting in. I do think that if he's only getting an offer for 10 million, I think you should keep him, get him fit, hopefully.
Yep.
And then he's going to be so sublime with his passing when he does come back that he's going to do the winning pass to Nunez to get the points to clinch the title. So that'll be a kicker for everybody to get rid of him.
That's the plan. But, I would keep him. If I'm honest, I would keep him. Unless it's like a ridiculous bid, then you got to accept sometimes. But I would keep him. But I'd also still go out there and get someone else. But we shouldn't have to get rid of Thiago to get someone else. And that is normally the case. We've got to get rid of someone to get someone in. And it shouldn't be, but it's not going to change until FSG do go, if I'm honest. And that's the way it is. Before we do move on to the next transfer rumour, and it's a transfer rumour coming into us for once. The January transfer coming around, people keep saying it's silly season. I've heard many players linked to us in the last couple of days because the January window is coming, and people know the January window is coming. So this is how agents move. This is how tabloids move across the world. They get their players up in the name and up in the headlines, and they use Liverpool as well. So, am I expecting Liverpool to buy anyone in January? Willem, you could answer me that. Am I expecting anyone to buy?
I know you're not. I know you're not normally expecting it. So I would. And to be fair, I'm not expecting it either, unless there's one of the opportunities that normally pop up.
And before we do go into the transfer window coming up in January, please make sure you do like and subscribe to the channel. We've got streams every single night at 7:30. We've got different videos coming out, short videos, long videos, and we've got a podcast coming out tomorrow. Myself and Lou recorded the podcast the other day with Man City fan Lewis Brown, and it's certainly a one to watch and one to listen to on all Spotify, on all the Audible devices, Spotify, Google, Amazon, or right here on YouTube as well. You can watch us our podcast tomorrow at 4:00. It is going to be released tomorrow, so please keep an eye, please keep an ear open for that. Serious inquiries then for Gianluca Pesciani, a 17-year-old Argentinian forward for Vélez Sarsfield. Very, very, very liked over there in Argentina. A bit like Andre for Brazil. I still even at playback. Has anyone got playback still or no? Is anyone else even at playback?
I haven't changed anything or touched anything since it, so I'm not sure if it's me or anyone else.
But so Gianluca Pesciani is still a 17-year-old lad, forward for Argentina. He's very liked over there, but also liked over here. Liverpool have made a serious inquiry to, I think it was Gojo. Is it Jogo? Jogo, I think it is Portuguese outlet, but Benfica are also in for the Argentinian forward. 8 million euros is what it could cost him when he turns 18 years old. But it looks like that Benfica are going to get their man over us. Kings, is it? I know you probably don't know the player much, and it's hard to scout players like this because obviously it's playing in the Argentinian league and no one watches Argentinian league over here. But if you've done any research on him, is it worth paying 8 million? It's not really losing much to then maybe load him out as long as we get the man.
I suppose it's a similar thing to the Thiago we just talking about. In today's football, teams like Liverpool, Man City, etc., at the top of the league, £10 million isn't that much money to them in the bigger picture. So letting Thiago go for 10 million, no, I wouldn't do it. Picking up a player who, yes, he's only 17, 18 for like 8 million euro. So what, about £7 million?
Yeah.
I mean, to a team like Liverpool, that's not really a lot of money to take a chance in the bigger picture. I can see obviously why Benfica are interested. I mean, they did a similar thing, is it, with Fernandes? Last year they got him quite cheap, and they ended up going for 120 million to Chelsea. So they pick up players like this, in a way, a bit like Brighton. Maybe they bring him in a little bit cheaper and people go, "Oh, we're not taking a chance because we don't know him so much," and then they turn into stars, and then they get millions extra added to their price tag. But yeah, I would, if I was FSG, I would be taking a chance on him and thinking, well, for the price, I think it's worth it.
If anyone hasn't seen Prestiani, he's a decent young lad, to be honest. He's quite confident. He could play across the front three. He seems like a top player, if I'm honest. It's hard to get him off the ball. He's got good balance. He's quite clinical in front of the goal. 8 million euros, Tom. I mean, we saw it with Nunez when Benfica got Nunez over at a cheap price. We've ended up paying 60, 70 million pounds for Nunez. Is it better to go straight across? A bit like Andre. Is it better straight to go across to South America, get these players in, see what they're like, maybe loan them out and see how they go? It's not, like King said, it's not much money to be wasting.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. As you say, like 7 mil or whatever it is very low risk, isn't it, in today's market? The amount of money that these big clubs make. So, yeah, I think it's worth doing. Like, he does look a good player. Yeah, 8 mil, it's low risk, and if you can get that sort of money for Thiago, then maybe it is sort of a transfer worth doing. But these types of players do seem to normally go to like the Portuguese league, don't they, first, and then like in a few years he'll probably go to like a Prem club for like 70 mil. But I do agree with you, like if you can sort of get that head start and just get him straight here, then it is probably a good shout. But yeah, like I said, they do sort of make that stepping stone normally, don't they, which in reality probably is better for their development because he's not going to get a game here, is he, realistically? So, like I said, I'd be all for it, but I don't really see it happening. I could see him going to like you said, like the likes of Benfica or someone like that first.
Could it be another missed trick then, Willem? If we don't get him for 8 million euros and Benfica do get him, it's going to be 60, 70 million quid next year or the year after, and then you're not going to go for him, are you? It's hard to go back and say, look, we could have had him then. We did it with Caicedo. We could have got Caicedo at a cheap price. Brighton ended up getting, he's now gone to Chelsea for £100 million. It's hard, though, because we are stacked in the forward position. And it could also, scupper the development of someone else in the youth system. But if he's better than what we have got in terms of potential, it's a no-brainer, isn't it, really?
I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't know if he is better in potential or not. Like, unfortunately, I just know very little about the player. So in that respect, I wouldn't be able to tell if the €8 million is a bargain or is just his value at that point for being so young and being such a prospect. If we were to sign him, I mean, you could always look at it as the situation with Minamino, where Minamino came in for £7.5 million or whatever it was, and we did end up selling him for about £18 million to Monaco. So even if I'm not against doing those kind of deals. In fact, if you look at not just Brighton, but even Real Madrid, for example, Real Madrid got Vinicius straight out Brazil. They got Rodrigo straight out Brazil. They've been getting loads of these players out of there already early, way before they've even gone to a stepping stone club. So I would definitely be for us. Like, I would really be for it that we at least start dipping into these market and really start looking into these deals, because they can, in the long run, just save us a lot of money. And it can also, if you buy them at a low value, the likelihood of you reselling them at a higher value that you bought them at is always going to be higher. So I don't see how we haven't dipped into that market yet, to be honest.
I mean, £7 million to then go loan him out and get him some first team football somewhere else. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Like you said, we're not going to get the money back anyway. We'll probably, if the worst comes to worst, we'll probably end up selling him for 10 million. So you've made profit anyway. I can't see it being a loss on that sort of money. Zia here says, what do you mean? Bit like Andre, we can't get these cheap deals off the line. If Burnley or Division 1 team show and interest, we'll pull it. You come for the wrong player, mate. You come for the wrong person there, mate, when you talk about deals coming up. Like, I know we don't get these deals over the line. I know we don't get these deals on. But I'm saying it's a bit like Andre, where it's straight from the horse's mouth. There's no in between. It's straight into South America. Get him over. Don't get him through Benfica. Don't get him through Brighton. And I just think we need to, like Willem said, we need to start doing those sort of deals. It's cheap money. It's cheap money for us, and I say it's cheap money for FSG. Every sort of money is cheap. Every money counts. Every little counts. A bit like Tesco. They are basically Tesco owners, I think, if I'm honest. Before we do go back into the Man City game, of a striker we do have, a forward that we do have, incredible form recently. He had a poor game against Luton, as I've picked out, but back into internationals and he's scoring again. Darwin Nunez has been given the highest praise that you can imagine from his fellow Uruguayan Luis Suarez. One of the best nines in the world, he says, and he has things from me, Cavani, and Haaland. Kings, do you agree with Luis Suarez? He is one of the best number 9s in the world, Darwin Nunez, right now.
He's getting there. I think I don't want to put too much pressure on his shoulders too quick. I mean, last season was difficult for him. He didn't settle that well, maybe. And I think this year he's come into the side. He doesn't get an instant start. He's not like Mo Salah yet. He's pretty much first name down. But when he plays, I said it in the show after Brentford, 7 assists he's given to Mo Salah. So he's really starting to build a bit of a partnership when he does play. He seems more confident. He seems more aggressive when he plays, actually. And I like that about him. It's like, okay, there is certain times that you think there's an open goal and he's put it over the top and you think, why?
Oh, yeah.
But he's still fairly young and he's learning his trade still. So I've cut him a little bit of slack from my point. But yeah, I think, he's a decent player. And if he carries on and builds a better partnership up front at Liverpool, then yes, he could be one of the best number 9s in the world.
I mean, the way Suarez says is a bit like he's got a mixture of like himself, Cavani, and Haaland. That is the perfect strike, isn't it, Tom? Surely.
Yeah, the way he's talking, yeah. I don't know if he really is that like them that much. To be fair, I see the similarities with Haaland. Obviously, it's the pace and the power, isn't it? Which is a very sort of unique skill set. But he has got that. He's absolutely rapid, but he's powerful with it as well. But yeah, I do agree. I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's definitely on the right trajectory. He's only a couple of goal contributions away from his whole total last season, isn't he? I read before, so that just shows his improvement. Obviously, in terms of the coaches he's working with, Klopp and Bielsa, like for an attacking player, you can't get too many better coaches to work other than that, can you? They're both absolutely elite in terms of offensive for offensive players anyway. So yeah, I do think his overall game is just looking a lot better. He's kind of roughing out them edges a little bit. His hold-up play is looking better. He's looking a bit more composed in front of goal. So yeah, I've been really impressed with him this season, to be fair. I definitely think he's on the right path to becoming one of the best strikers in the world and kind of living up to that price tag that we paid for him.
Let's go back to sort of he's 100% one of the best, just by virtue of there not being many strikers with the output. That's a bit unkind there, sort of. Just by default, is one of the best. He said there, but I get that. There isn't many world class strikers in the world. There's like Haaland, Kane, Lewandowski. You're talking then underneath that, you're talking Osimhen. Even Nkunku, if he starts getting a run at Chelsea when he does come back from his injuries, is up there as well. But Nunez does have all the attributes to be a world-class striker. It's just one thing that ruins it for him is his cool head. It's his coolness. And I'm not talking about his fighting other players. I'm talking about in front of goal. These little small finishers, he can't finish. When he's thinking about it, it doesn't keep his head cool, and he always misses. The ones against Luton where he had little tap-ins. The best strikers in the world score those. The best, the top goal scorers in the world. One of the best strikers to ever play in the Premier League, and it kills me to say this, is Ruud van Nistelrooy. And he didn't score outside the 6-yard box. He had the movement of Nunez. He just had a cool head, and he knew how to finish every single time. It was pretty much elite finishing. We know Nunez can finish. He's shown it plenty of times he can finish. One of the best finishers in the world. He did it against us for Benfica in Champions League. Every single touch he had went in. It's those simple finishes that he needs to do, and that's mentality, I think, personally. I think it's a mentality thing. Once he sorts that out, he's up there with Erling Haaland, isn't he, Willem? For top goal scorer, in the world.
I mean, his numbers might not end up being literally the same as Haaland, but I mean, in what he brings more into his overall game and what he has like in the bag assist-wise and creativity-wise, he offers a way more than that than the Haaland, for example. So Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm just on the same page as you guys right now. Like, as in the trajectory he's going into, it just to think once he gets those little mistakes under control, and then kind of becomes the full product of himself. He's going to be one of our favorites. We're gonna just love watching him every week. And to be fair, I can even tell all those rival fans last year who had a go at him and stuff and everything. They've all been really quiet now, but what even makes me laugh even more is that actually secretly a lot of them like him because he's so chaotic. Because they don't know what to expect from him as well. So like even in that sense as well, I'm also glad for his turnaround. He's not being like I heard people last year say he was a donkey. He didn't know what he was doing. Blah, blah, like Lukaku coming up again, and then in the end, like as in I'm glad to see now that we're finally seeing the player who I knew he could end up being this for us, but they would have to take a little bit of time. But I'm glad he's turning into what he should become.
Zia says here, Nunez by himself makes me want to go watch Liverpool, and he's such a good entertainment value. It's nice that he is entertaining, and he's so exciting to watch. He's unpredictable, everything like that. But if you don't finish the ball, then it's going to start getting frustrating. If they don't finish them chances, it's going to start getting frustrating. I don't care how entertaining you are. You need to start putting the ball back in the net. And he has done at times this season. He had a very, very good output. I think it was like 1 goal every 67 minutes before the Luton match. So he has started to do it, but then that Luton match comes around where he's missing absolute sitters, no excuse sitters. And it costs us points. Points win games. Games win, titles. If it comes down to, at 1 point again in the title race or 2 points, we look back, we got cheated against Tottenham. This is offside. No, we can drew 1-1 to Luton because Nunez missed the easy chances. These are the make and break of the best strikers amongst the world-class strikers. The best of the best win games where it's needed, and they turn up when their team need them the most. I think Nunez can do it. I think, like I said, Nunez has got all the attributes to be the best striker in the world, if I'm honest, even better than Erling Haaland, because I think he offers more like Willem said, as a whole round game. But he needs to start getting his head sorted out. He needs to get a cool head. I don't know if it's do meditation or something. Do something to get that, to sort his mentality out when he's in front of goal. If he does that, he could be one of the best strikers to ever wear the number 9 shirt. And that's saying a lot at Liverpool, like the Fowler. That's saying an absolute lot. It's just up to him now, and I think we could get. There's so many people in football these days, rather than just coaches. There's people that work with minds. There's people that work with development of physicality and things like that. There's so many people out there to help him, and I think if he sorts his head out, he sorts his mentality out in terms of goal. Wow, what a player we have! What an absolute player we have, and we win titles with that sort of player. Do you agree, Kings?
I do, yes, very much so. I agree with everything you've said. The thing is at Liverpool, I suppose, with the last few years, especially, we've had Salah, Mane, and Firmino up front, and we've been a little bit spoiled because the three together were fantastic. They were, obviously blow most teams away, and they did that on a regular basis. When Mane left, it was like, okay, it's an adjustment, and then of course Bobby's moved on, so we're only left with Salah now. So even for him, it's been an adjustment in the side. He's more out on the wing more, and Nunez maybe in the middle, and then we've got Jota and Diaz to slot in. So the front part of the team has changed really beyond recognition. So I think for him and the others to adapt to a new style, if we can play more to his strengths as more of a target man and have more creating as well, I think we're away, to be honest. So if we keep pushing on his strengths, I definitely feel 12 months from now, we won't even be having this conversation. He'll have settled this season. And, as I've said before, hopefully fire us to the title. But, that's wishful thinking at the moment. But I think if we play to his strengths, then yes, this time next year, we'll be sitting here going, there's no question about it. He's top notch.
Totally right here. But let's also remember he isn't asked to only score goals. He does need to create for Salah, and Salah misses just as many sitters. Salah does miss many sitters, but his goal teller says everything you need to know about Salah, and especially when it comes to the end of the season, he's always literally the top goal scorer or second in the top goal scoring list. So Salah makes up for it through other goals. I think Nunez needs to start doing that as well. But I think what could be a masterstroke is moving McAllister forward. I think moving McAllister forward a bit further could create serious problems for defenders because of Nunez. I do, because I think he'll create so much more space in those pockets. You've seen him at Argentina, where he gets in those pockets and his intricate passing. Players flock around him. Do that at Liverpool. Nunez gives space to Lou Nunez. He'll run riot, Will Nunez. Nunez is always... I know people don't classify him as the best player at Liverpool, but he seems to be man-marked these days. Sometimes by two players. Is that because of his erraticness, do you reckon, Willem? And they know how scary he is. They know what he can offer.
I think it's as well more because if you go on a zonal marking, you kind of leave these spaces automatically behind you. Where if there's a ball coming in and he's going to have a sprint 1-on-1 against a central defender, let's face it. I mean, 95 out of 100 times he probably wins the sprint, and then you're creating way more danger. So I think it's also more done in a sense of strategical trying to hamper his runs. Not that they have been particularly good at it, because normally you see him have at least 2, 3, 4 runs of these in a game. But I would probably say that is more the reason why teams play him that way. Again, I don't think it's particularly worked. I mean, you can go either way. You're still going to create that chaos anyway. About your point with McAllister moving up, yeah, I agree on it as well, but that's also because more on the fact that I thought in general we were bringing in McAllister for that role. So I thought afterwards either Fabinho, at the time when we signed him, I thought, all right, Fabinho's going to be a 6 and we're going to have Szoboszlai and McAllister probably being the main two behind it. But then now, obviously, him being moved to a 6, I wouldn't know how we would move him forward now with the current team that we have.
Yes, we haven't got a 6.
Yeah.
and I don't think Endo's up to the level in terms of Premier League. So, yeah it's a tricky one, isn't it? Again, it comes down to like a 6. But entertainment value, I mean, I love watching R9 Torres. They're two big names to throw out there, Zia. Two big names there. I mean, Torres, I get that, but R9 is the best striker I've ever seen in my life. So, Luton was a bad day at the office, but he's had a few bad days at the office. That's a problem with Nunez. Mainly last year. But I think he can get it out of his head. It's all about mentality for me. Please hit the likes and subscribe, like Mersh said here. Please, it doesn't take long just to press the like button. It doesn't take long at all. Probably like half a second on a flick of a wrist. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Keep sharing to your friends. Keep sharing to your colleagues. Whoever are Liverpool fans, even rival fans can come on if they want and give us banter. I don't care. There's not many rival fans out there that can give us banter anyway at the moment. David, we will these questions that you are asking. I have started them, and I will be asked towards the end of the stream where we are talking about Man City for Saturday. And also, don't forget podcast out tomorrow at 4:00 with myself and Lou. We had Lewis Brown, Manchester City fan, for the Man City preview. Definitely, certainly one to watch or one to listen to. I'm sure they'll ask it. Yeah, exactly like Moose. I will be asking at the end of the chat for all these questions. Thank you for getting your questions in as well, because it means a lot. Nunez is silencing and detractors for fun now. Anyone who could see what he has, even in last year, isn't looking closely enough and defaulting to lazy snap judgments. Can't argue against Messi and Suarez. The thing is, I think you're just jealous, if I'm honest. The rival banter regarding Nunez is because they haven't got a striker. Arsenal don't have a striker. Chelsea don't have a striker. Man United went for Nunez, got rejected. They now have Mr. Højlund. There's only Man City that we can look at there in terms of rivals and say, you've got a better striker than us. You know, that can banter Nunez if he does have a bad game. The rest of them are just jealous, and they would beg for a player like Nunez up front. Man needs to move forward and being wasted. Exactly, Jay. We know why he's been wasted where he is, but who knows? I called it before the season. I got called out last season about the midfield calling out, but it's funny how things progress in it. Can't move back until we get a 6. I agree with that, Jay, because we can't put Endo there, if I'm honest. I just don't think he's up to the level in Premier League. 3-0 Nunez. Yeah, we will get to predictions. I'm going to style that one, Derek. Would you lot play Gomez at right back or left back at all on Saturday? Let's start with it then, boys. Let's start with that. Manchester City, Saturday, half-12 kickoff. Brilliant time kickoff. I love these kickoffs. As the international bet, my favourite time of the year. Forget Christmas Day coming up. Our talk kick-off lunchtime after the international break is my favourite time of the year. Kings, do you start Gomez at right back or left back, or do you not start him at all on Saturday?
I'm going to say left back instead of Tsimikas. Now, the mad thing is, again, going back to the Brentford game, he had a bit of a rubbish first half, got a bit of stick for it. And then the more he got stick, then set up 2 goals. So I'm hoping like that kind of thing. If you can poke him a little bit more, kind of, you'll get more out of him. But on this occasion, I think I'd go with Gomez. I reckon just a little bit more level-headed, a bit more experience maybe against the City attack. It's a difficult one though. Obviously, we miss Robbo when he's not there.
They're both not good options, are they? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're both not good options
this is
at all.
Yeah, it has been difficult for Klopp, to be honest. To find a ready-made replacement, and he's come in and he's done his best, Tsimikas, but you can tell he's not 100% with him, maybe because he does maybe change it around a little bit now and doesn't just go, "You're the understudy, you step up now." He does move a couple of players in and out just to try them differently. So I think he'll go with Gomez, to be honest.
I think he'll go with Gomez as well, just because of the experience, if I'm honest. And Zia said you are so harsh on Nunez. I think we have different levels of harshness, if I'm honest, Zia, because I don't think I was harsh on Nunez. I regard him as one of the best strikers in the world and possibly the best striker in the world if he gets the cool head. So, yeah, I do think he can score 30 goals as well. So I certainly want harsh on Nunez, I don't think. We have to be very aggressive on Saturday. Man City at home is 5-0-0, and we are 16-3 in goal difference. If we do our job perfect and shot, then we are 4-1-2 away with 16-9. I said that. Do you agree, William? Do you think we should just go at him on Saturday? Because what have we got to lose? We're underdogs in this game. The Klopp lot's been underdogs. Go show what we're about.
I mean, I don't see us going there and sitting back and waiting on a counter attack. So I think there's only going to be one option for us to go at anyway, and I think it's just to pretty much disrupt the build up from City, which is pretty much our classic bit more gegenpress oriented style of just making sure that we're there in the moments to counter press as accurately as we can, and just to be on top of them, really. But that would be pretty much the only style I can see us playing, like at least successfully playing. If we're going to do something like try and control the game or really try and take a hold of it more, that's playing right into City's hands. That's not going to be anywhere, or at least not going to get us anywhere. So yeah, I think that would be the way. So, and we know how our coach is. He's not going to sit back and he's not going to wait until we get a moment to go on the counter. So I think there is only one option anyway.
This comment right here, Tom, is the reason why I've got spare boxer shorts ready for Saturday morning. Doku, does this scare you?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been a little bit overhyped. I mean, he's a very good player, very dangerous player. Obviously, great dribbling skills, great one-on-one. But he's had one very good game against Bournemouth, hasn't he? Apart from that, he's not exactly set the world alight, I wouldn't say. So I think we are going a bit overboard on him. But I think, like you said, it's just our fullbacks that's the worry, isn't it? The Gomez and Tsimikas thing is just so hard because Tsimikas does give you the balance, doesn't he, being left-footed, and he does give you that sort of better sort of offensive play, but Gomez obviously better defensively, more experience, and I do just think with Costas, he does have that moment of madness in him, doesn't he? Like, you remember the Toulouse game where he just got caught in possession. He's got that in him. I think he's got a penalty given away in him as well, like a clumsy tackle. I could just see him doing that. And we know the refs aren't shy to give Man City a penalty, so yeah, I think I would just edge Gomez for this one in terms of dealing with Doku. But in terms of the overall game plan, I do think we need to go for them because when teams do go for them, they can be got at. That's been seen several times. It very rarely works when you park the bus on them because they're not. If you go 90 minutes just defending against Man City, it's not going to work. So you need to play to your strengths, play our own game, and I think that's our best sort of option to try and beat them.
I think choosing between Tsimikas and Gomez on Saturday is like choosing between a shit sandwich and a shit wrap in it. Or you just, at the end of the day, you just got to go for whichever you like, whichever bread you like the best, if I'm honest. And if it works, doesn't it? I mean, Jeremy Doku, I do think he has hit the ground with him, if I'm honest. From what I've seen, I know he had an incredible game against Bournemouth. I do think he's had decent games and other games. Well, the pace and the confidence is coming to this Premier League already. Whether it's against Trent on the left or whether it's against Tsimikas or Gomez on the right, I think they're going to use him a lot. We spoke to Lewis Brown, obviously the Man City fan, on the podcast, and he said Pep won't target players. But I said basically in the game, I think they will naturally start to target players. If they see Doku, for example, taking Tsimikas on twice in the first 10 minutes, they're going to go to him all the time because they see the seat there. I think the players will naturally go that way. And that's where we're going to get problems elsewhere on the pitch, because if Tsimikas isn't up for it, people are going to start covering across there and leaving gaps in the middle of them. And the lack of six then, Bernardo Silva there or Phil Foden there, is going to be a big, big problem. This is why I think we should have to go for it, because we need to go out outscore them, if I'm honest. I think we usually draw 2-2 against these, and normally like the best of the best games. 2-2 is normally a result comes out in this game. Midfield will have to help defend. This is the problem that we have then, Moose, because if we have to rely on Soboslai or Gravenberch, for example, to come back and help defend, that's where our attacking priority goes. I think we need to start focusing on what's our best way of getting a result here, and our best way of getting a result is attack. My dad used to always say the best line of defence is attack. Go out, score goals, then you won't need to defend. So, and I think we've got the best front five in world football in terms of attack. So, Gomez good at left back. I don't think he's good anywhere at the moment. I think he's had brilliant games at centre back. He's been okay this season, I think, Gomez, but I just think he's past it, if I'm honest. And at left back and right back, there's no way I'd have him there. It doesn't offer enough going forward, and he's a liability at the back at full back places. Ashley and Jay are having a big discussion here about Nunez and whether he deserves criticism or not. Like Jay said it earlier, he said it in the comments earlier. He said basically, if Nunez are missing his chances in games where we need the result, like the Luton game, for example, then he will get criticised more, and it's rightly so, because you buy players like that for the goals, and if he ain't got a cool head in those games, is costing us points, then no one's going to be happy. And it's as simple as that. No one is going to be happy. We all know what he's capable of. Doesn't mean that we hate the player or we don't dislike the player. We just want better. We just need to win these games and stop letting us down in certain games. I think he won't. I think he'll sort himself out, and I'm hoping he does become the top goal scorer. Klopp said earlier this season he's still a boy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's only a young lad as well, so he's still got a lot to learn. But still, people will be critical when it's start costing us points. This is not new. This is football. This has been like this for decades. Football. A player starts missing chances, whether you Van Nistelrooy, Drogba, Henry, Suarez. If you start missing chances, it costs us points, then people are going to start going into you. That's just the way football works. So Kings going into the game then on Saturday. Front three. Sorry, who are you going with?
I'll go with Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. I will go.
We're going
just
full pace at them.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Them two creating either side, him down the middle, going at them. I mean, people forget over the last few years, we tailed off at the end of last year, kind of thing. But Liverpool and Man City have gone toe to toe for 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row now. It's been them mainly, and there's been a lot of talk this week about their players at Man City, or that they're not playing, they're injured, they got in, and they're not going to be playing. I think a lot of it's mind games. I don't think half as many will be missing that are made out that they're not going to be playing. That's what I think anyway. And so I think there's a bit of gamesmanship there. So they're going to put out a very, very strong side, obviously City, because they've got the money to have the depth in their squad. But I don't think we should go there and fear them. I mean, the game against Chelsea for Man City, 4-4, showed that if you go at them, they are susceptible at the back at the moment. They're not as solid as they were. And I think, well, them three, and then even Jota, to be fair, you could start him instead of Diaz, even maybe, later in the game, just bring him on instead of counting him out. He's actually a really good player. He doesn't always get the credit, I don't think, Jota. He's a really good, intelligent player. It's just in this game, I think them two and Nunez in the middle will just be straight at them and just constantly running at them, I reckon.
You made a good example there about the Chelsea game, and these are nowhere near in terms of attacking standard that we are at the moment. They're nowhere near in terms of the goal scoring that we can at the moment. They haven't got a striker. So, and if they score far past them, this is what I'm saying. We should go at them. We know we're going to concede. It's very, very unlikely we're going to get a clean sheet. Very unlikely. I'm saying like 99% likely we are going to concede, and that's when you accept that, then you need to start pushing forward and showing what you got. A bit like when we were back in before Klopp came in, and when he came in first, he had a poor defence. And I'm not saying we've got poor defence now, but defensively we're shaky because of the lack of six, because we're having to cover the holes and gaps everywhere else. The fact that we rely on Alisson Becker so many times in one-on-ones tells you everything. Tells you everything. If we had a different keeper in there, we'd be losing way more games. But we need to go for it. And do you agree, Tom, with Kings, the front three of Diaz, Salah, Nunez, it's just absolute chaos and pace as well, in case we do go on counter-attacks?
Yeah, just about. I do think it's very hard leaving Jota out, though, because I think after Salah, if a chance can fall to anyone, you want it to fall to Jota, don't you? He just seems ice cold in front of goal, whereas Nunez, obviously, we know he has his moments where he can sky big chances. Diaz hasn't really shown us yet that he can sort of put the numbers up as the goals and assists yet. So in terms of from like a goal scoring point of view, like it is hard to leave Jota out, but I think the problems that Nunez and Diaz can cause in behind, Diaz with his trickery as well, I think I would just give them to the edge. But like I said, it's very hard leaving Jota out because he's just so lethal in front of goal. Got a goal there year before last, didn't he, in the 2-2. He got the nod in that one, and I wouldn't be disappointed at all to see him in the team on Saturday. But yeah, I think just for the pace and other things that Nunez and Diaz can both offer, I think I would just edge them to, yeah.
I think what plays a big part in games like this as well is the atmosphere and the actual moments, like the referee moments, for example, like bookings, possibly sending offs. And I think the likes of Diaz, Salah, and Nunez can get in the face of Man City players and causing like sending offs and bookings. And when you get a booking of a player, for example, say Nunez takes on Kyle Walker, gets him booked, he's cautious over the rest of the match. He's scared of going into a tackle for the rest of the match, and that's where you can expose them. I think we should need to play our best players and our most, I think, exhilarating players. I think Jota come on towards the end, as he does. I think he's better off the bench anyway, Jota. And when we do need a goal, then why not? Even if we're one goal behind, drawing or one goal in front, we need that goal to finish it off or come back. Jota's a perfect player to bring on when everyone's tired and he can find the pocket and he can find space to get a goal. Robert Maguire says, how is Nunez costing us? Explain. I mean, the Luton game tells you everything you need to know. It cost us in that game. And Jay has said basically, he hasn't yet, but he has cost us in the game. And that is not Nunez. I don't even blame the Luton game on Nunez. I blame the whole team performance. I said it. I think I did I spoke about it before on I think I did it on the pod. Actually, spoke about the Luton game, and I said, look, it's the whole team performance. I can't fully blame Nunez, but he has cost us that game. I still think the number 6 is costing us every single game, if I'm honest, like a number 6. But that's the way it is. It's going for Nunez as to play for me. Yes, I agree with you. Nunez does have to play for me, and I just, like I said, it's so important to get these players, get this crowd against them as well. I know there's not many of them in the crowd, but still get them against them. And once they get the crowd against them, then you're going to win mentality. You're going to win the mind games already. It's going to go through the starred ones now. Then Heliar says Curtis Jones or Graham Birch. This Curtis Jones situation, right? I've been called negative about Curtis Jones, even though I've always praised Curtis Jones. I've always said Curtis Jones is the Nicky Butt of our squad. How important Nicky Butt was for Manchester United in the 90s, for the title winning side, the treble winning side. It was important as it comes. Curtis Jones is the exact same, but I just don't think it's the level that we need for Liverpool, if that makes sense, for starting lineup. It's not a guaranteed start every week. I think Gravenberch coming in as well has shown that, if I'm honest. I think Gravenberch has shown a different level to what Jones has. I think Jones can play unbelievable. I always remember the Porto game a couple of years ago. He was the best player on the pitch by far. towards last season, he started playing better last 9 games. He finally saw some consistency with him. I just don't think he's the level to be a starter at Liverpool, if that makes sense. I don't think we can build around him. I don't think for me, I don't want him to be in the first team every single week. I always want to get better players, and I think Gravenberch is a better player. But I still like Curtis Jones. There's no doubt about that. Hi, Damon, William Kings. What score do you think it will be Saturday? William, go on then, mate. What score will it be Saturday?
I'm I'm actually gonna go for a 1-3. I can't believe I'm even saying it. Generally, I'm even baffled, but yeah, I'm going 3-1 Liverpool.
I mean, we won 3-1 this season, haven't we?
Yeah, that's true.
Derek goes here 3-0. He's gone for a clean sheet, Kings. He's gone for a clean sheet. How are we going to get a clean sheet, Kings? How are we going to get a clean sheet?
I don't think we'll get a clean sheet. We have this habit against every team of conceding, and then having to fight back. I don't think we'll get a clean sheet, especially against City. But I'm similar to William. I think we're going to win. I think probably 2-1. And I think Nunez actually might score the winner, which is after everything we've said about him. I mean, we forgot actually in the roundup of the strikers. There's Cody Gakpo as well who can come on and he can cause some mayhem. He's still young, so he's there as a backup as well. And I just think on the weekend, why can't Nunez make up for the Luton game? And I've got him down to score. Hopefully, he's going to be the winner, but I've gone for 2-1, so I'm hoping I'm right.
Nunez did let me down that day for Luton, so I think there could be other reasons why he didn't score against Luton. Robert Maguire said he won as the Newcastle game. He did, but two things can be right at once, Robert. Two things can be factual at once. He did win as the Newcastle game, but he also cost us the Luton game. Those two things can be right at the same time. I don't know why they can't, if I'm honest. It's a fact. Let's go through some more. 2-2. Moose, yes, when I did do the preview to the Man City game on the pod, my prediction was 2-2 in the end. I said Liverpool could scrape it, but I just think 2-2 seems the likely outcome. I think it'll get to the point where last 10 minutes it's 2-2. I think both managers will be happy with a draw and not want to lose the game, and I think they'll both try to see it out, if I'm honest. Messi in is mate. Sorry to disappoint. Everyone's Nunez' mate, so I don't know about there. 3-2 City head, 3-2 Liverpool Heart. 1 second. 3-2 City head, 3-2 Liverpool Heart. I mean, if you're going to predict the game on your heart or your head, I mean, that's just exactly where that's exactly the game kind of is. I think it is a head or heart, but even in my head, I still think Liverpool can win it. If it is a tough one to predict, and 12:30 kickoffs internationals just makes it even 10 times worse. I think if it was a Sunday, I still think I'd be umming and ahhing whether Liverpool win or not. But 12:30 kickoffs on a Saturday, wow. Damon, real talk, Liverpool need to improve it in defence. Now Nunez, number 6, Nunez, Gakpo and Diaz need to start scoring goals and giving the important team. I don't know if you've seen my Abdul. I don't know if you've seen my video on number 6, which I did 5 minutes into the 5 games into the season, and I said it throughout the pre-season that we need a number 6. But I did get a lot of abuse for that from certain people. But have you kicked the ball in your life before? Because I have. 2-1 Liverpool, says Heliard, Salah and Nunez. Everyone is predicting Nunez to score a goal this week. We all know that Nunez has got it. It just needs to start showing it sometimes in certain games where he misses absolute. Nah, lad, I'm getting bored of calling the bottom red. I'm reaction. This bottom red and top red thing's another thing. I think it's a myth. I don't agree with people calling people bottom reds and top reds. It's an hierarchy in a fan base that don't agree with hierarchies. It makes zero sense for me. Tom, final prediction and scoreline prediction. Kings has gone for a win. William's gone for a 3-1 win. 3-1. I've not seen a 3-1 in a while. Tom, what about you?
I'm going to agree with Kings. I'm going to go for a 2-1 narrow win. Obviously, they've won 21 home games in a row, haven't they? So it's going to be a no mean feat. And I'd stab your hand off for a draw right now.
Good time to break it up then.
Yeah. Well, records are there to be broken, aren't they? So, yeah, like I said, I'd stab your hand off for a draw right now, definitely. But, yeah, why not? I'll back the boys 2-1. Records
are there to be broken. And we've created many records 2 years ago, but they were all broken quite quickly. If I'm honest, they were quite quickly. Even Van Dijk losing at home to Leeds was the first time he lost at home in a Premier League game. So records are there to be broken. Who better to break them than Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool? Pep Guardiola's arch nemesis, and he doesn't like to play Liverpool. He's never liked playing Liverpool. He's never liked playing Klopp. I know. I do apologise. I know we do have a bad. We do have a bad thing there. We do have a bad. What's the word? I can't think of the word. Lost my mind now.
Record.
We do have a bad record there. We do have a bad record there. I do apologise. We do have a bad record there, but things can change. I think we do have the potential to beat Man City there. And what a way to come back after the international break in a game that we don't like playing at 12 to beat City away, relax for the rest of the weekend, and let everyone else do what they need to do. City 3-1 Liverpool again. Liverpool are going in the comments tonight, and the panel itself are going for Liverpool wins. Apart from myself, Liverpool should have beaten Brighton to lose Spurs and Luton. I think we should be beating everyone. Love the optimism. Liverpool should never concede goals against Luton this way. Yeah, we shouldn't have conceded a goal, and that was lack of six. If you go back at the goal for Luton, McAllister had a chance to either foul or tackle the ball at the edge of the box, and he couldn't make a simple tackle or a foul, and it cost us. We're feeling Maka scores. He's got to get forward first to Warrior to score. I don't know if he wants him to score Xabi Alonso from a halfway line, but he's got to get forward. Prediction 2-2 for Abdel Rahman. Pretty much. I don't think I've seen anyone yet predict a Man City win, which is looking good in terms of, if we're right, then we're all going to be happy Saturday night. It's as simple as that. And I hate these games because of the impact it has on the weekend. If we lose, I think it's a matter we lose. If we do lose, I can take it if we're not pathetic. I think performances need to improve. I don't think we've hit the heights we can hit this season. I think we've been pathetic in most games, if I'm honest. Even though I've won most of them, I think most of them have been pathetic in terms of performance. I just want to see fight on Saturday. And I want to see drive. I want to see a team that wants to win the title. And I just want to see us go at it. I do. I think they're there for the taking. This title's there for the taking, and Liverpool need to show that on Saturday. What a perfect game to show that. And what a way to end the stream tonight, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Kings, Willem, Tom, absolute pleasure to have you on. Kings, I'm glad I've met you for the first time tonight as well. Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
And
It's been a pleasure, mate. Talking about football.
That's always the topic on this stream.
Yeah.
It might be Tiddlywinks tomorrow night, though. If you do join us tomorrow night, it is Tiddlywinks live at 7:30 on YouTube. Please do make sure you like, subscribe, and comment in the comments. Get your thoughts in. Get your comments in. Tell us if you didn't like the stream. Tell us if you do like the stream. I don't care, if I'm honest. I only care about the ones that do say it if we do like it. Podcast tomorrow at 4:00. You'll Never Talk Alone podcast. Myself and Lou had Lewis Brown, Manchester City fan, for the preview of the Man City game. Coming out 4:00. Definitely one to watch, one to listen out for on all Audible devices, Audible apps, including Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, anything you want. Thank you for everyone joining in tonight, and thank you for the comments as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you all have a good night, and good night.